All right, let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. Ty Butler in the house on this Thursday night, New York City, cloudy outside, air quality index, trash. They're telling people If you are sensitive, stay inside. So I am inside my home studio. Got a lot to talk about. Baseball back officially tonight. Mets in action against the Phillies. The Yankees, big series against the Dodgers. And of course, you got the FIFA World Cup final on Sunday. Man, Argentina, Spain, Messi's brilliance. So much to talk about when it comes to those other things. But it's our weekly segment. Claire Lune of The Guardian, she hops on and she was in Vegas. And
Yeah.
so we'll get to a Vegas recap. We'll talk about Wemby's contract extension. Of course, LeBron is in New York City at the Fanatics Fest. He might have been in New York all week because he was at the Hove concert as well. But we start by saying hello to you. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I normally try and turn off my AC for this segment, but it is so freaking hot in LA right now that I'm there's just gonna have to be some background noise or I'm gonna pass out. So
Nah, we can't hear it.
it
You're
is what
good.
it
We
is
can't hear
today.
it. So what
Um
did it go up to in LA this afternoon?
Today I feel like it was like somewhere in the mid 90s, but I've been dealing with heat all week because, like you said, I was in Vegas.
Yeah,
I got there Thursday, I left Monday, and by the time I got back to LA, it was like Vegas temps here. So I've just been in the trenches with the weather for
yeah.
the last week.
We're up to 90, and we've got this air quality index issue that we dealt with last.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy out here in these streets. Be safe out there, y'all. Um, I want to start here real quick. I did the radio show on ESPN New York this morning, and we discussed briefly the Knicks just swept the ESPYs.
Yeah.
And it's not something we talk about a lot, but I mean, they got every award. They're up there. It was just a pretty cool moment. OG's got his OG, you can tell, just doesn't like to talk. Which is why him and Kawhi are
Yeah.
perfect teammates. But Nick swept the ESPYs last night. Best male athlete, best performance, best player goes to Jalen Brunson. Best team go to the Knicks. Best play goes to OG Anunoby. And Fanatics Fest is happening here in New York City. And Brunson, this has to make you smile, says he still is in disbelief about how they pulled that off. And I said, make you smile because you were there, and that's a forever
Yeah.
game. And I'm a forever be hating on you because I wasn't there for that one.
I'm still every time I see a clip from that night, I'm just like, I can't believe I was there. Like what a I mean, most of the most historical moments in NBA history, or I guess all the other ones, I either watched on TV or happened before my time.
Yeah,
Um, and I have colleagues, for example, that were at Game 7 of the 2016 finals, and that was before I started covering the league, so I was watching that one on TV. And there's a few moments that I was there for that I feel like people will remember. Like, I do think that game tying three LeBron hit in the end of uh,
Houston.
regulation in
Yeah,
Houston. Like, I think that people will reference that when they talk about the totality of his career, just because like hitting a game saving shot like that at 41 is crazy. But this was like, I feel like this is going to go down as one of the top five most famous, games in NBA history, or some top 10. So
yeah,
to be there for that is just nuts.
yeah. I mean, Magic in 1980 Game 6. You've got
Hmm.
obviously MJ's last game in the 98 finals. This is definitely going to be up there in the top 10.
It has to be.
But shout out to the Knicks. Listen, I'm in New York City. There has not been a single day I've gone outside where I did not come across at least one person wearing Knicks attire.
Yeah.
At least one person. So this thing is gonna live for a long time, and I'm excited to see what they've got cooking going forward. Josh Hart did say that had they not come back and won that game and they lose the series, you would not have seen him outside because remember he misses
Oh,
that
for
layup
sure.
breakaway.
Wide open layup in transition.
And yo, Nick's history is like that's embedded in Nick. Charles Smith, Patrick Ewing's missed finger roll. And so he said, y'all would not have seen him outside at all until opening night of the regular season.
I
What was
mean,
it?
it's
I haven't asked you this yet. What was the energy like in the moment where he misses that layup?
I feel like it was just a collective face palm from the whole crowd of just like, oh, because that would have given the Knicks the lead for the first time in the game, I think. They ultimately ended up taking the lead after that, obviously, like shortly after that. But like, Yeah, that would have been their first lead, and it would have been sort of the crescendo to this crazy comeback. Um, but yeah, I think everyone in the it's funny because like when you've been sort of indoctrinated or like, trauma trained for your team to fail, which I
Yeah.
think Knicks fans have been historically, like I feel like they were sort of waiting for something like that to happen. You know what I mean? Like they were because it felt too good to be true that they were mounting a comeback of those proportions. So I think a lot of the Knicks fans there were sort of like, okay, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're going to blow this somehow. And that the Josh thing was almost like the unsurprising thing. And the OG tip in was like the thing that bucks the historical trends of what Knicks fans have been through. So there was more disbelief on the OG tip in, I think, than there was on the Josh miss layup, just because of historical precedent.
Last thing I'll say on this, Jalen Brunson was on our radio station yesterday and revealed that the wrist that he hurt, which ended up requiring surgery, he
Mhm.
actually hurt it in game 2 of the conference finals, which is crazy.
That's
Like,
wild.
that
Yeah.
just adds to the legend of this whole thing, and so
Yeah.
it's just pretty cool, man, to be a part of this, and I'm telling you, Knick fans are not gonna come off this high, for a very long
Nor
time.
should they.
We have the LeBron sweepstakes still going. I find it so annoying. I find this really annoying, and people say, "Oh, you're just a LeBron homer." It's not being a LeBron homer. We have, let's just say, at worst, one of the 3 greatest players in NBA history,
Mhm.
who is clearly on the back nine. Like, this is it. He's
Yeah.
gonna sign his final contract, and we say sayonara to LeBron. This is a big decision. And if I'm him, I wanna milk it. I actually did not expect him to make it before the finale of the World Cup. That's the biggest story going on right now. It wraps up on Sunday. I I don't know, maybe I've talked myself into it. Maybe he announces it, at Fanatics Fest this weekend. I also had this, like, funny thing I did on TV. What if he came on stage at the Hove concert and announced he was going to the Knicks? But the people who are annoyed, like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, can he make a decision already?" It's such fake outrage. Like, I
It's so
cannot
ridiculous.
believe it is insane to me. And I guess part of it is, like, Aaron Rodgers did this a couple times. But Aaron Rodgers and LeBron are, like, 2 completely different people, 2 completely different characters, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I can't find it in my heart to believe that people are being sincere
Mhm.
about how annoyed they are that LeBron's taking this long.
It kinda reminds me of when the Lakers signed Bronny and, like, the outrage that people showed, and it's like, I think he was the 54th pick or 55th
Yeah.
pick or something, and it's like, I dare you to name players 50 through 60 that got drafted the last few years of the draft. Like, I will pay you $20 if you can name 4 of them even.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just such manufactured outrage, and it was so clearly just like it's people are just predisposed to be mad at him. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I think in this scenario, it's his last free agency. It's
Mhm.
his last team that he will ever play for in his career in all likelihood. And it's the end of his story as potentially the greatest player of all time. I mean, it's a huge decision. And like, when is he ever going to be like the center of attention? I mean, even if
Exactly.
my thing is like, I would imagine it's a little column A, a little column B. I would say, if I had to guess, I think it's more column A, which is that at least for most of this time, he is deliberating. And my hypothesis is that it's either the Warriors or the Cavs, and he's waiting for one of them to make the move that solidifies it. Um, and and first of all, why wouldn't he flex that leverage muscle while he can? I mean, it's like the only leverage he has. Um, but so he is if he is milking it, say, like if he just likes the attention, like when is he ever going to get this level of attention again besides when he retires? Like it's his last free agency. Like let him milk it. What are you guys waiting on pins and needles to find out what happens to Jonathan Kaminga? Like what huge news story is he preventing the NBA like news cycle from talking about? Like I just don't understand. It's going to be nothing. As soon as once he picks a team, what everyone in my industry is waiting for is to go on their European vacations or whatever and to just be done working for a few weeks. But as far as like fans go, there's not going to be anything to talk about besides like it'll be more manufactured BS like, oh, can Jason Tatum carry a team without Jaylen Brown? And are the Knicks going to have a championship hangover? And like the dumb stories that are just like silly time fillers, you know, like this is the dead period of the calendar.
No, I think you nailed it. It's like a predisposition. And so if you already don't like him, it's just ammunition and it fuels your hatred. Oh my God, he's a drama queen. Listen, I have suspected, and I could be wrong about this. I don't have any intel. I think he knows where he's going. And he's just like taking his time waiting this out. I don't care. Like, do what you gotta do, fam. Like, it's your last go around. You want to capitalize on a news cycle. You want to be the center of attention. Go for it, bro. You've earned that. You've given us 23 years of greatness, of excellence, and the people who remember the tweet like this effery won't continue. LeBron's going to be in his 30s. Like the people who have been waiting for him to retire are actually going to come. And like I do miss that guy. It's like I don't know how much you follow football. I'm a diehard Jet fan, and so I was so sick of Tom Brady. He retired, and it's like, damn, I actually kind of miss Tom Brady, like because it isn't just a player; it's the entity, the all that comes with the interest that is generated from him being Brady. And so, look, I think him and his camp have done a tremendous job, like not really leaking anything or where he's going. Windhorse and McMenamin were on Sports Center today and said like no one really knows anything. And it kind of reminds me of 2010, where like in retrospect, a lot of people were like, yeah, they were the tea leaves, Miami the whole way. I remember living through that. No one had any idea where he was going. At least publicly were saying where he was going. It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think if people were honest, they kind of enjoy it. Like I think they kind of enjoy it's like the crime shows that, or when people watch like White Lotus together and they're like trying to figure out the who done it. It's like it's a puzzle. It's like you're trying to find clues. Like people like that shit. I don't know. It was funny because I just saw a couple of clips of the Fanatics Fest thing from today, the Mind the Game live pod. I thought it was hilarious because like Tyrese Halliburton is like such an elite troll. He's like such a wrestling heel. And yesterday he tweeted like, it's almost time. And I was like, I'm 100% sure this man is just trolling you because he's like, he technically is talking about the podcast, but he knows what he's doing. He's like trying to like stir up conversation. It's like, then I saw an aggregator like LeBron could go to Indiana. He has a good relationship with Tyrese Halliburton. It's like LeBron's not going to the Indiana Pacers, but yeah, like I thought it was interesting because I saw a clip from the Mind the Game episode today, and it was like LeBron was answering a question and he was like, yeah, like, wherever I go next, like that'll be my last couple of years in the league. And then he kind of corrected himself and he's like, or last year or 3 or whatever. But Nick Wright had said that his guess was that it was going to be like an even like 25 years. Like that's like such a nice, like sort of satisfying number. And that way, wherever he went, that's a new team, he wouldn't have the sort of pressure of having to do the like retirement tour and the first year at a new team all in one. And so I do think based on that sentiment and based on what LeBron said, I think it's a fair assumption that it'll be 2 more seasons. I think if he had stayed with the Lakers, this would have been the last one. But I think it's like do 1 season to actually in earnest try and win, and then 1 season to kind of like put a bow on it and wrap it up.
And everywhere he's gone, it's taken it at year 2 to get it. Like Cleveland 2015.
Yeah. Everywhere he's gone, he's gotten it done in year 2.
In year 2. Tyree, I don't know if you saw this. Halliburton, I saw this that he had texted LeBron. It was like, yo, you can come to Indiana. And LeBron just responded with
like laugh crying emojis. Yeah.
And that was the end of his recruitment.
Yes. And that's why it was hilarious that it got aggregated yesterday, because obviously Tyrese knew exactly what he was doing with that. But the other thing I thought was interesting is like, to your point of like, does he already know? I did think it was, not to get too like conspiracy theory, like reading tea leaves, but I thought it was interesting that he was like, oh yeah, wherever I land. And I'm like,
oh, land. Yeah.
If that isn't a hint, he was definitely like trolling on purpose. Cause like, that's like a choice.
He's calculated.
An interesting choice of words. Yeah.
There was another quote out there Damn, I should have had this up. By the way, hit us up in the chat. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Twitter. She's at Claire MPLS. I'm at Ty D Butler. LeBron was like listing teams, but then left out the Cavs.
And the Warriors, I thought.
I saw this. LeBron, I've heard Warriors, I've heard Philly, Miami. So he left out the Cavs. Yeah. So this is from the Mind the Game podcast. He's sitting down with Tyrese Halliburton, who's got a grin on his face, and he says, "I heard Warriors, Philly, Miami. Someone said come to the Yankees." So he didn't mention the Cavs.
Mm-hmm. So which kind of feels like that would make me think that it is the one it's going to be. Like omitting it feels loud to me.
Yeah.
If you're just going to list off.
Because Cavs fans are freaking out. Cavs fans are freaking out when they saw that.
I mean, the one thing I will say about how long this is dragging out is that if it's not the Cavs, I think some Cavs fans are going to be pretty upset.
Yeah, they're going to take it personally.
Which is like, I don't know how thrilled he would be about further alienating that fan base, but I don't know how much he even really cares.
So where's I know I asked you this every week. What's your gut tell you?
It's still, I would say Cleveland, and I would say Golden State close second. And I don't really think any of the other ones are real, in my opinion. I don't know if they were ever real. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, I don't know. If I had to guess, I feel like all the other options are public negotiation to apply pressure to Golden State and Cleveland to make their teams better.
Here's why the Warriors thing doesn't make sense to me. It would almost feel like Steph Curry's story more than LeBron's. And it sounds crazy because wherever LeBron goes, he is the story. It's why Knicks fans get so mad at me when I'm on local radio in New York saying, yo, it would be a great story for him to come to New York. And it's like, nah, man, we just won a championship and it was about the team and it's about 53-year drought. And now it becomes LeBron's, his swan song. And we don't want it to become that. But the thing about the Warriors that makes it different is like it's Steph's team. It's also him being on the back nine. Andre Iguodala had some quote, maybe it was a week or so ago about, this would be a great, and I'm paraphrasing, but it would be a great end to Steph's career, finishing touches of his legacy. And that's why maybe I'm looking too deeply into it. It would almost feel to me like a hired gun to help put the finishing touches on one of the greatest careers in NBA history. But, oh, wait, we're not talking about LeBron. It's Steph Curry, because that fan base we know, and rightfully so, they're very sensitive to, like, nah, Steph's our guy. And so that's why I just, part of me just doesn't want him to go there.
Counterpoint.
Okay, I love a good counterpoint.
First of all, I do think that if he makes that choice, it'll be more like fun and basketball based than narrative based. But the narrative counterpoint to what you just said is Steph was his biggest rival, the guy who prevented him from winning probably more of the championships that he would have won in his prime. And when people look back on LeBron's career, that'll be looked at as his biggest rival, I think, by far, in the totality of his career. So there's always going to be people who are measuring up Steph's accomplishments with LeBron's, even though people know he's not really in the same echelon as far as like NBA history. If one of those accomplishments or one of those championships took LeBron helping him to do it, it kind of becomes about, oh, well, even my biggest rival wanted my help. Like even my biggest rival ultimately to get that fifth ring or whatever, I had to come join him to help him do it, So like it almost sort of like dulls the edge of the Steph blade a little bit, I think, in like LeBron's legacy to be like, well, ultimately, like he was recruiting me, the summer before I came there and like wanted my help, versus like it's not like LeBron was recruiting Steph. Like Steph is out there on the golf course giving interviews about like, I think it would be a beautiful basketball fit and the golf is really good here and like whatever. So if your biggest rival is sort of like, I'm going to lay down my sword because I want you to come help me win a championship, that kind of is like a testament to LeBron's greatness, I think.
Counterpoint. Who's won a title more recently?
I mean, by 2 years, right? Or
Yeah,
or
but the
4
answer to
years.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, the answer to that is Steph. Steph has won a title more recently. And so, yes, he can do the recruitment, but it's still him joining a team where the superstar has won a championship more recently and will then outlast him just from a basketball playing standpoint.
I
And
just
I
feel like the
think
Warriors are
those,
such a shadow of themselves right now. Like, it doesn't even feel like he'd be like joining the Warriors. It's like they were
yeah,
celebrating after winning a play-in game last year.
yeah,
Like,
I
it's kind of a
understand that.
pathetic situation there right now. And I don't mean that to be like mean or rude. It's just like I mean pathetic in like the most literal sense of the word, where it's like I hate watching like one of my heroes go out like this. You know, like
But
I
but it's like if Jimmy Butler doesn't tear his ACL, they're not a playing team.
I don't
They
know if
would
I
have been
agree with
better.
that.
You think they would have been a playing team if Jimmy didn't tear his ACL? I don't think they win the title,
Like a
but they
7,
are.
I think they probably would have been a 7 seed because they ended up as the 10 seed. Like they did
Yeah,
not it was not going well even when cuz Steph was hurt before Jimmy
yeah.
tore his ACL. So like Steph was not healthy last year. And I
All
think
right,
they
so
were
even better if Steph and Jimmy were healthy.
yeah, but
Again,
that's the
I
whole
don't think
thing
they're
is when's
winning
the
a
last time there
championship.
was a whole season where both Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler were both healthy? Like it's just it has I don't even know if it's ever happened. You know, like
I,
where they're both healthy for a whole season. Maybe the very
yeah,
beginning of Jimmy's career.
I just it's always going to be you joined Steph's team,
For a couple
and
years. I don't know.
you
I just don't
joined
think it's
Steph's team, you won a championship, and even I mean, I guess if he gets Finals MVP, that could swing the argument the other direction.
I just
But
don't think this chapter is going to be that important in the history. And like when we talk about the totality of LeBron's career, I just really don't think wherever this last chapter
yeah,
is going to like people are going to talk about it that much unless he wins. But if he
mhm.
doesn't win, it's like I mean, I just don't think with any of the greats we really care that much about the end of their like the very end of their careers. It's just not that meaningful.
I also think too, a lot of the Steph Curry fans will then make this part of the legend. Like, oh, Kevin Durant needed to win a championship. I recruited him. We won. And KD was the better player, but it still was looked upon as my team. LeBron needed, I don't want to say needed to win a championship, but really wanted to win a championship. I recruited him. And he comes aboard and then we win the title. And so he will be looked upon as the ultimate leader, as a guy who was willing to sacrifice from a basketball playing standpoint and ego, and then helped two all-time greats, two of the other greats of his generation win championships. And I
I mean, I
think
don't think they're
to
going to win
some degree,
anyway.
I don't think they are, but
Probably a moot point.
we're just
Yeah.
playing this. We're just playing the game of the exercise. Um,
But like for example, I guess that's part of the exercise for me. If it's just fun and they're like a second round exit and they don't win a championship and he just goes there and plays with Steph for a few years because it's fun, like is that really going to even like be a blip on his legacy? I don't think so. Like I just
you know
don't
what's
think
gonna happen, but come on, Claire. You know what's going to happen because
that's going to happen wherever he goes. Like
no, but what?
you can
No,
do
no.
that wherever he goes.
But what's gonna happen is people are then going to make a list of his team, the guys he's played with, and it won't be 37-year-old Steph Curry. It'll just be Steph Curry. You know, he's played with Anthony Davis. It won't be Anthony Davis who was always hurt. It'll be Luka. Like they'll make a list of all the guys he's played with. It's like, man, you won 4 championships. I'm not saying I agree with it, but you being so entrenched in this business, you know that's gonna happen.
I do, but I also think you get to a certain point where the discourse gets so toxic about him, and he knows this. I feel like he's probably at a point where he's like, there's nothing, like, there's no level of greatness I can achieve that's going to convince some of these people. Like, if there was something that could be done, he would have already done it because he's already done more than like basically anyone in history as far as like accomplishments, like things you can list out on like a Wikipedia bio. So, if there are some people who are not convinced yet, there's nothing he can do to convince them. Like
Correct.
there's nowhere he can go this year that will change some people's minds. So
Correct.
knowing that there's really nothing that can be done to change the hearts and minds of like probably at least 30% of like the basketball viewing public, like why not go somewhere where you're going to have the best time, because your time in the NBA is limited and you just want to enjoy your last couple of years. Like I'm sure the narrative factors in, but it can't be the be all end all, because there's just people have already made their minds up about him, like for better or for worse. I mean, like there's, for example, for me, there's nothing that could happen in this next year or two that would convince me he's not the GOAT. There's literally nothing that could happen. He could go 10 points a game. He could average 10 points a game for the next couple of years and totally fall off a cliff. And that would not change my mind at all. And there's people who feel the same way, but on the opposite side of the argument. So like,
Yeah.
it's kind of house money.
Yeah, for a lot of people. And look, I'm with you. I'm just arguing the other side.
No, I hear you. I just feel like he's probably like, fuck it, dude. There's nothing I can do to convince these people at this point. I mean, I think for his own satisfaction, he would like another championship, but it's not. I don't think 5 rings is going to convince the people who think it's Jordan. You know, like,
because it'll always be 6 for 6, and then it'll be finals record. Last point on this, because we do have some other stuff we got to get to. And maybe this is silly, but which one would be more significant? Winning with the Cavs again or winning with Golden State?
Cavs,
Wait,
easily.
Well, okay. Because it's like 4th different team. Like winning a championship with a 4th different team is nuts.
It is nuts.
And then to do it in the Western Conference, where we're all convinced, like you're just at the bowing at the altar of San Antonio and Oklahoma City. And then by the way, like the Lakers are in that same conference. So, having to fend them off, like doing it with a 4th different team in that West, and then, against whoever comes out the East, who I'm predicting this season will be the New York Knicks. It would be.
Okay, you might have convinced me just because they'd be so old too, and like to come out of the West, even with a team that old, is like would be kind of a miracle. I think it'd be more significant in Cleveland because it's like it doesn't matter when I come back to Cleveland, I could be 42 and I'll still bring a championship back here. Like that's kind of crazy. And then also if James Harden is still on the team and he can be the guy that gets James Harden over the hump and get
it almost counts as 2 rings, right?
It feels like it should.
Minus 2 rings.
No, I mean you're probably right that it's Golden State. I just think it would be like a tidier near, because to your point, like people are going to be like, oh well, it was more Steph than LeBron, even if the numbers say something else.
All right. Before we get to Wemby and some other NBA stuff, the Gary Trent Jr. story, both the Gary Trent Jr. and the Kawhi stuff, I just find to be so fascinating in a comedic way. You were in Vegas for the Summer League.
Yeah.
So put me on. How was it? What biggest stories, biggest takeaways? The floor is yours.
I mean, it was funny because it was just funny to be there in the year of our Lord 2026, and the main thing everybody was talking about is like where LeBron's going to go. Like that's just objectively hilarious. I thought all the top 4 rookies looked really good. Like I think AJ kind of quieted some doubters with the performance he had against Darren Peterson in their first matchup. He looked incredible. Cam Boozer looks like out of the box, ready, made, like impactful NBA player immediately. I thought the Lakers Summer League guys actually have looked really good. Like, I mean, their draft pick, Cameron Carr, has looked awesome, but then there's like, there's like some 2-way guys and stuff, or even unsigned guys that have looked really good for them. Adu Thiero showed flashes. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of talk about, like we were talking about, like, the second apron and all that BS, but yeah.
Caleb Wilson, I thought, was one of the biggest winners, or has been one of the biggest winners so far. And maybe there is a overreaction, because you do hear some people, and I was with some family the other day, and they're like, yo, he should have gone number 1. But he's been incredible. Everyone raves about his athleticism, and we're seeing it so far. We saw him catch that body against Otto. Acuff hasn't looked good. Because I'm in New York, one of the main talking points post-draft was, how did the Nets pass on Darius Acuff? And,
you're seeing why, yeah.
Yeah, he's struggling so far. The efficiency stuff, the defense. I'm also rooting for the Bucks, man. I do have a place in my heart for them just because of everything that's happened with them post 2021, Middleton's knees, Giannis leaving, and how that team has crumbled. The Drew Holiday trade.
Damn, yeah.
Obviously Dame, yeah, like Dame tearing his Achilles. So Braden Burries looks like a nice player, but
He looks awesome.
it's been fun. And you just mentioned the second apron. I got to get your thoughts on the second apron because there are some unintended consequences that I don't think the league accounted for.
I mean, I thought it was a bad idea from the beginning, but partially just because I'm so like pro labor and I'm just like, I hate anything that gives a billionaire an excuse not to spend money. Like I'm just always anti that. And this what these sort of punitive, like basically hard caps by a different name rules do is that they're like, whoop, my hands are tied. Like can't pay players market value because otherwise, like, how are we going to draft? How are we going to do all these other things? I can't believe that the PA like agreed to this.
Oh my goodness.
It's like it's funny. I like saw CJ McCollum and I have like mutual friends, and so I saw him a couple times this weekend. And I'm like, man, is his legacy gonna be like I was the president of the PA when this happened? Like, that's just I don't know. I just it's so team friendly. Like it's so play or not team friendly, owner friendly. It's so like player unfriendly that I just can't fathom how it happened.
So on one side, rightfully, we give a lot of credit to Wemby. He takes the 5-year, $252 million extension, saves the Spurs $50 million over the next 5 years, and he could have got, I believe it's 303 is the number had he waited. So it's like, oh, what a teammate. But on the other side, it's like, why should he have to do that? Like he's earned every dollar that should be coming to him. If not more, right? And so why does he, a generational talent who just in his playoff debut took his team to the damn NBA finals, why should the onus be on him to leave all this money to the side so that they can pay guys like Dylan Harper, so that they can pay guys like Stefan Castle? Like it's so mind-boggling to me. Like especially because you watch Jokic just sitting on one ring. Why? Oh, because all these guys they had to lose. They couldn't pay players. The Celtics had to break up a team that went 80-21. That's one of the most dominant seasons in NBA history. All the questions about Oklahoma City. These teams can't stay together, even if you do it right. Like I understand you want to try to like de-incentivize super teams. Okay, I got it. But when you draft well, like you shouldn't be punished for that. And so I like that part of it. I just hate so much. To your point, owners like getting excuses not to spend money. They keep making money, and now these
hand over fist. Yeah.
So it's just it's so ridiculous to me.
I mean, there's so many unintended consequences. To your point, like, so Wemby becomes, like something of a folk hero or whatever for taking 50 million less. What does that mean when it is time for Steph Castle or Dylan Harper and it's time for their extension? Like, what kind of pressure are they going to feel to take less than the max that they can? Also, what's going to happen when a player, another player of like Wemby's caliber or near there, when it comes time for their extension on another team, if they want the maximum amount of money that they can get, are they going to be villainized for that? I would imagine so by at least some people. So it's just so silly to me. And I also feel like people are so like desperate to anoint Wemby that it's just like, oh, of course he would do this. He's such a like pious, like selfless, whatever. And it's like, dude just wants to win ultimately. I mean, which is commendable, but it's not like out of the goodness of his heart. He's like, he sees what happened with the Knicks. He sees that Jalen took less and is like, this might be what we have to do to win. And I really want to win,
But you brought up Jalen. So he takes 113 million less. And people don't talk about this. I should bring this up on the radio show. If the Knicks don't win the championship and Cat's eligible for this big time extension and Josh Hart's eligible for an extension, and now Mitchell Robinson, he obviously leads to Boston. The amount of pressure that's on those guys to follow
Ridiculous,
suit,
yeah.
like it's just
I mean,
crazy.
it's still that pressure still exists even with them winning the championship. That's the thing is
Yeah.
like when you set a precedent, it's like this isn't a one-for-one analogy at all, but it is kind of similar to like when you're at the park in New York and a pigeon comes up to you, if you have like breadcrumbs and
Oh
you
yeah.
throw a breadcrumb to one pigeon and then
And
all the little pigeons circle you and they're like, "Wait, you have to give me one." And you're like, "Wow, but I
yeah.
don't want to be a dick and like only give a breadcrumb to this one pigeon." It's like if you're, if you see someone like taking a pay cut, you're like, well, I guess I have this internal pressure now. Like these other people are coming to me like, can you take a pay cut now too? And it's like, well, I guess I have to. So
Yeah.
I don't like the pressure that it puts on the players. I especially don't like what it's doing to the discourse of player salaries. Which is like it's less about like, oh, we should push for different legislation in the CBA to make it easier for these guys to get paid, and more like, what's $50 million extra to you as already a multimillionaire? It's like people pocket watching the players and being like, you already have enough money. Meanwhile, like, the billionaire owners of these teams make what these players make in a year in like a month or less, couple weeks maybe.
Yeah.
So it's just, I hate it. I mean, there's so many things. I was talking to someone about this in Vegas. Like, if I was commissioner, like they would like call me like a crazy, like socialist, whatever. I would be like making sweeping changes that are all extremely progressive, like raise the salary floor and raise the salary cap. I would be abolishing the draft. I would
Oh,
be,
I love that. Yeah, I'd get rid of the draft in a heartbeat. Like
I feel
making
like
more free agents.
okay, can I just get on my soapbox for 1 second since this is like our
Oh,
platform and I'm not going to get
I love
like
this.
in trouble for bringing this to someone else's platform?
Go ahead.
Everyone is a huge fan of capitalism. Not me, but like people are always such a huge fan of capitalism until it applies to sports. And then all of a sudden, all bets are off and
Yeah.
and the rules of a free market don't apply. And in a free market, how it's supposed to work is that if you're the best at what you do, you get to charge the most money for it and you have the most options about where you want to bring those services. That is true across the board in any job. So if you decide, okay, somebody in Oklahoma can pay me the most money or give me the best opportunity in my field, maybe it's worth moving to Oklahoma. I have to weigh those decisions. Like if the best opportunity is there, maybe it's worth it. I don't want to live in Oklahoma, but that's the, cost benefit analysis that I'm doing. All of a sudden we're like kid gloving these guys and just assuming that in a free market, if they had a free option to go anywhere, that they wouldn't weigh all of these different factors. It's like, well, no one would ever want to play in Memphis or Oklahoma or whatever, and so we have to force them to go there. And it's like, give them a reason to want to play in Oklahoma. Like right now, for example, if we didn't have a draft, there would probably be a decent number of guys who would want to go play for Oklahoma City because they're a winner and they give them the best chance, to win a championship. Or they're wannabe guys like Darius Acuff basically kind of forced his way to the Sacramento Kings because he knows he can just chuck there and he has the best opportunity to like showcase his talents and take a million shots a game. Like different things matter to everyone. People's families are from different regions of the country. People like small towns versus big cities. Like everyone has their own tastes. And the point is, if you are a supporter of capitalism in theory and you like the idea of a free market, like this is antithetical to that. This is antithetical to what that's supposed to be.
It also solves the biggest issue, right? Which is tanking. And then now you got to take a drink because you're like, you're like,
Issue solved. Like, why are we creating all these convoluted rules about like flattening the draft? It's just like, so my idea was that I told someone in Vegas was that if you want to have like, a draft order like we do now, and you want to abolish the draft, but you want there to be some rhyme or reason or give some sort of benefit to teams that aren't in LA or in New York and might otherwise have a harder time recruiting free agents, then you can have an order of which, like, okay, you're on the clock to give your pitch to the player of your choosing, and you can offer them X amount of money before anyone else can. and then they can decide, like, do I want to take this offer or do I want to see what else is out there? Like, there, you can still have an organization to it. It doesn't have to be complete chaos, but ultimately the choice should be in the hands of the players. It is absurd that they don't get to decide their own destiny, especially when a lot of these places, because of the way that the rookie extensions are set up, you might be there for like 5 to 8 years of the beginning of your career. And if it's a bad team that's run poorly and has bad upper management, it could poison pill your career to end up in the wrong city. So I'm so anti.
Yeah, and the pushback, because I've made that same argument as well. Create super teams, like the best players will go to the best. No, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen, because the best teams don't have cap space.
Exactly.
And
Like,
players are still going to value the financial aspect of it.
We're not getting rid of a salary cap in this scenario. So the players have to make, and their teams and their agents and their families have to make a choice. Do I value where I can get the most money? Do I value where I can get the most opportunity? Do I value where I can live in the coolest city? And those are not all going to be the same place. So you have to value your own individual priorities, just like anyone in any job in America would, just like anyone would when they're deciding where they want to work. Those guys would be doing those same calculations, making those same judgments. If you're an incredible architect and there's a job where you can make $1 million a year, but you have to live in Tuscaloosa, you would weigh that against a job where you maybe would make a little less money, but you get to live in a really cool apartment on the Lower East Side. Like, these are evaluations we make every single day. And to rob these incredibly talented people at the very upper echelon of their fields of the opportunities to make those decisions until they've been in their jobs for like a decade is preposterous to me.
I love it. We're on the same page with that. Gary Trent Jr., a little bit of a weird situation. Here's what's so funny. So he signed back in 2024. Bucks didn't have cap space. So he signs to a small contract. Did the same thing in 25, and then all of a sudden he gets this big 4-year, $64 million extension, and it doesn't make sense. I did find, and I want to give my man James Edwards, who covers the NBA for The Athletic, credit, because he had a funny tweet. He says, if we're being honest, the NBA looking into why a player got overpaid is kind of hilarious. And he quotes, like, yeah, this is a little bit too much for you. It's kind of wild, which is funny, but not really why the NBA is investigating this. Cap circumvention happens all the time. You cannot convince me. We're seeing it with Kawhi Leonard, which, why the hell is that taking a year to get resolved? So the Gary Trent Jr. contract is being investigated. He may or may not be allowed to sign with Milwaukee. What do you make of this?
I mean, get Pablo Torre on the case, I guess. I don't know. Like,
Pablo Torre.
It's very, I think the reason they have to investigate it is because it's so flagrant and obvious that, like, they would look like pussies if they just let it slide. Like, the league is like, okay, you're backing us into a corner. This is so obvious that we have to at least, like, there has to be some investigation or like punishment levied, because it's like, in the year of our Lord 2026, Gary Trent Jr. is not worth this much money. He had the worst year of his career last year. He is completely over the hill, and he's been on the minimum for like several years now. So like, there is no like above board reason why he would warrant this much money. And so they kind of have to, especially since they're, taking this Kawhi thing so seriously. But yeah, I mean, cap circumvention is like super common, and it's because everything is so punitive now that, like, guys are like demanding to find ways to get paid. I mean, like, what do you?
This happened with James Harden and the Sixers. Now it's different because obviously Harden is a much better player than Gary Trent.
Daryl Morey was like, never mind, bro.
Daryl Morey did the okey doke.
I feel like the Cavs might do that to him shortly, actually. Now that we're talking about James Harden and promises made, kind of wonder if part of me wonders if the LeBron thing is like LeBron waiting for the Cavs to find a way out of that so that they can give that money to LeBron instead, because they technically don't owe James that money right now.
Yeah, unless you can like find a trade partner for him. The Kawhi thing is just,
how have they not finished this yet?
And then, like, Silver's like, yeah, we'll figure this out before the end of the summer. And it's like,
I would freaking hope so.
You've had a year to do this.
Oh my
Like
God.
you've had a year, and then I find it funny. So Toronto, if Toronto didn't decide to halt this trade, if they would be the ones paying for being on the losing end of this. They've the one they've got to live with the consequences of this, even though this is a Steve Ballmer issue.
I
Like
don't know
none of
this
it
for
makes sense.
yeah. I don't know this for sure. My guess as to why it's taking so long would be Steve Ballmer has more money than God. And so I would imagine the NBA does think they did something wrong, but they're
Mhm.
like, we have to make sure every single T is crossed, every I is dotted, because this man will have us in litigation for decades
Yeah.
if we throw the book at them. And if we throw the book at them, we need to have everything covered so that they can't possibly sue us for anything. Because, like, it doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter to Steve Ballmer. Like, he would sue, if he can find anything to sue over, and he can keep that in court for 30 years if he wants to. It's not going to impact his net worth an iota.
And if they don't throw the book at them,
They
Adam
look
Silver's
weak.
gonna look crazy out here. It's like,
So,
bro, you've got so many different things, and it's funny because his tenure started with how he was praised for dealing with the Donald
Donald
Sterling
Sterling,
issue
yeah.
with the Clippers, and now what is this? A decade later or so, he's got this that he still can't seem to figure out.
And he just
But
sold Portland to someone who seems like determined to run that team into the ground. So
oh my
it's a whole
goodness,
mess.
I did you see that? There was a story about the owner of the Trailblazers. What's the hockey team he owns?
Oh,
Um,
the
and he's
Hurricanes.
putting his like kids' names on the trophy. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this Adam Silver situation. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh man. I mean, I probably lost a lot of people with my rant about the draft, but I
No,
just
I
feel
think you
really
gained a lot of
passionately
people.
about that. Like
I
I
think you
I
gained a lot
just
of people.
some of the things in both this league and just in life in general are so clearly unjust and like clearly rooted in like prejudice and um things that are just feel so wrong, and it just sort of feels like every once in a while you just have to like shake your fist at the sky about it because it just feels so unfair.
Great rant. I loved it.
Thank
This was
you.
fun as always. Next week, I would imagine we will be reacting to LeBron's next
One would think.
destination.
One would think.
So that'll be a lot of fun. Shout out to you once again. Really appreciate you doing
Shout out to
this.
you. Enjoy the World
Um,
Cup final this weekend.
yeah, that'll be fun. Do you have a team you're rooting for? Did you figure that
All the
out?
teams I was rooting for got eliminated like almost immediately after I picked them. Because I was like, oh, maybe France, maybe England. They're both gone now. Part of me is rooting for Spain just because like they're kind of the underdog, whatever. But there's also just a part of me that I love history, I love greatness, I love teams of destiny, and all of that kind of seems really tied up in Argentina right now. So I'm kind of impartial. I just want to see a good game.
There's a lot of racism tied up in Argentina too, and so people are rooting against them.
I
But
know, and there's some very problematic ties with Argentina, like 1000%. But like, I also just think I love watching goats do goat shit.
no,
That's why I love
I'm with
LeBron. So yeah,
Messi at age 39, continuing to do what he did, all the comebacks. It feels very Knicks-like. I think
right.
they scored it's something like 11 goals in, 75th minute or later, and
Well,
so it's a magical run.
I saw something that said that they actually haven't led in the 90th minute of any of their knockout games, but they've obviously won all their knockout
Yeah,
games, and
it's
that's
crazy.
nuts. That's very Knicksian. Yeah, 2026 Knicks Ian.
So we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds
We'll
good.
have a lot of NBA to do. Appreciate you. Welcome back from Vegas,
Thank you.
and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
Shout out to you. That was Claire DeLune of The Guardian. We'll bring her back next week. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. At Ty Butler is where you can find me on Twitter, on Instagrams. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be on ESPN New York. If whether you're in New York or not, download the app. Find a way to listen. I'm on ESPN New York tomorrow morning from 10 to 1. And of course, I've got the Ty Butler Show on that same station from 8 to noon every single Sunday morning. And so peace and love to you. I appreciate y'all hopping on the show, and we'll talk to you again next time. Deuces.